So the Atlas has nice controlled adjustable tension, beautiful build quality, brilliant leg extensions. It's a really nice piece of kit. I must admit that for really long range precise shooting, I like the recoil to be quite free, quite loose. That's reasonably unpopular, but just like the F-class rigs go back on their seb rests, that's what I try and get with the really long range shots, you know, 900 yards. And I must admit that having tested this Atlas, having been used to my Versapod set real loose for years, that the Atlas is too firm, and I've had to slightly change my shooting to get it to suit me. And the way I've done it is not by changing my technique, so I load the bipod and I try and shorten the recoil cycle so aggressively by loading up the bipod. It's just not me. What I've come to doing is allowing that slight flex that I need to allow the gun to come straight back at me without the sight picture randomly whizzing off somewhere, so that it uniformly comes straight back at me in a vertical line. I find that the way to do that with this system is to use the rear end to do that, where I've been for a good while now using the brilliant accu-shot monopod. And the reason I like this, as I've said in the dedicated review of it, is that you can have it so that it has got a bit of play in it, or you can lock it up so it's solid. The beauty of that, of course, in conjunction with the front end, is that by adjusting the feel of both ends, particularly the back, I feel, you can emulate any type of recoil system, any type of recoil preference that you have. So I've now switched to the Atlas in that I prefer it for all of the features that it has, but I find it a bit firm for my very loose recoil style. So what I'm doing is I'm using the rear end loosened off just a bit, so that I get my straight back recoil there. So there's lots of ways of doing it, but this Atlas kit is quality, and I would suggest that anyone thinking of getting the back end gets the front end, and vice versa. As a system, it works brilliantly at managing your recoil, whilst providing you all of the up-to-date things that you want from a bipod. You know, the modular system, the feet, the brilliant leg extensions, the wonderful last you a lifetime build quality, the nice damped, controlled tension that you can put in with the tension wheel there, the stainless steel, the rails, they're just brilliant pieces of kit. And as I say, the basics are, you've got a good range of adjustment there. You know, from the min is short and the max is long. That's what you need in a bipod, or you end up buying two. And when you start thinking how versatile that is, it makes you start to think, well, maybe it isn't so expensive if I just need one, maybe some leg extensions. I personally think you can forego the QR system, because it's really quick to just whack a little screwdriver in there and undo that, and then pop it on the next rail on the next rifle. So I think you can save yourself 60 quid there, and doing that enables you to get the legs. So, or that 60 quid that you save on the QR will very nearly get you the rear. Now that I would recommend, because these are a lot more versatile than a bag. You know, you've got over an inch of adjustment up and down. You can put the thing at an angle should you wish. You can hold it with your rear hand and pinch it and tighten it and loosen it and grab it like you would with your bag to get that feel that you need for your shot. You can do all of that with that, and these are £70. So very, very exciting products, and thoroughly recommended. But be aware that you have to, whatever the system that you're using, get that recoil managed in the way that is consistent and reliable for you, according to your preferences. If you're a new shooter, buy an Atlas, learn to use it, load it up. that'll serve you well. For people who've been shooting a certain way for a long time, when you change your bipod and your rear support, these are big changes, and you mustn't think that good products will make you a better shooter without you analysing how they work and how they affect you and your consistency. But give it a bit of thought, and I think the front end and the back end from Atlas, good combination, and you can set it up however you want then. So lovely kit. With regard to what I was saying about finding the way to consistently have the same recoil cycle each time with your rifle, and the importance of the relationship between the bipod and the rear support that you use, be that a bag or the Atlas accu-shot that I like. I've done a bit of testing here. This is 200 yards, and I've done a bit of testing today, really loading up the bipod, locking up the rear accu-shot, and really loading it up in the way that a lot of people shoot, and I definitely don't prefer. And I've shot some groups as best I can. I've then gone to my preferred system, which is to ensure each shot recoils the same way, through loosening things off and allowing the gun to come back evenly and consistently and straight each time. And the Atlas front end is a bit firm for that, so what I've done is I've loosened the rear accu-shot up a little bit, the accu-shot monopod, just so that it can fold back on itself just a few mil, and that enables me to get that straight line. So here are the groups: 200 yards, 175 ball. You'll see here there's 1 and 2, and then there's one to the side here. Excuse me. Right, so that kind of, I don't know, just under an inch, maybe, well, 3/4 maybe. And it's right of my POI because of the way the harmonics changed. And that's fine, okay? But this group is me shooting as I prefer to. Now that's a fingernail, that's a 1 inch square beside it, so, you know, quarter inch right on my aim point, which was the target here, this little logo, and tighter. Okay, so you have to shoot the way that you shoot best, and you have to do it consistently. And when you get a new system, albeit all bells and whistles like the Atlas, and people say it's the best in the world and all that, and maybe it is, great, but you've got to think how it affects your shooting. Is it firmer than before? Is it looser than before? Do the legs move in a different direction to what you're used to? And then you have to change it or other parts of your kit, in my case the rear end, to get yourself shooting better. And that is me doing it the way I wanted. And that group, twice the size and off my POI slightly, is me forcing the issue and shooting like people say I should shoot the Atlas, which is loading it right up, etc, etc. Now, if I was aiming for there, I'm really high, but that's nothing to do with anything. See how I'm off to the right now. If that was a 700 yard shot on a crow, forget about it, I'd miss right. Now that, aiming for the T of target, obviously having taken some elevation off, that's your dead crow, 700 yards, done. Okay, and with the advantage that I didn't for a minute, for a microsecond, lose the sight picture, because I was comfortable shooting how I wanted to. So there we go, that's my little Heath Robinson experiment on how to best shoot the Atlas, given my concerns that it was slightly too firm. My answer is loosen the rear end so it's just got that little bit of movement in it. That enables the gun to come back cleanly, to rock on those hinges as it were, and come back into me cleanly. So I can now use the Atlas in confidence, knowing that you know that there's a system for getting the best out of it.